Yo, what up guys, Sammy Lee here from the Soul Brothers, and today I just got a really interesting shoe in. This is the Nike AlphaDunk. So this is the shoe that's supposed to replace the HyperDunk. Why change the name? But you know, this is, I think Nike's trying to do more of their, it's supposed to be Nike's signature shoe, but without like a signature athlete. So it's supposed to be a really premium basketball shoe. They're trying to use their best tech. You know, some people don't want a shoe that has a signature player tied to it, I guess. You know, like if you're playing in the NBA, you don't want to wear your opponent's shoes sometimes. So yeah, this is the AlphaDunk. It's $180, very high price, very expensive. I just got this in today, so this is my first impressions. I did not play in these, but I was walking around in them and stuff. And if you guys want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. But let's get it started off with the traction. So the traction, you have some circles, and that's basically it. It's basically a circle pattern here in the forefoot. And then the heel, it kind of turns into like a line pattern. It's a fully translucent outsole, and this thing was biting so hard on my wood floors, you know? So I feel like the grip and the stop is gonna be really good on a clean court. Like it's loud, it's squeaky. So I feel like the rubber compound that they use is really good. But you know, I never know about dust until I actually do play in it. Also, outdoor use, the rubber is pretty hard. The grooves are deep, so I feel like outdoor use should be good. So overall, the traction seems really good. I was very impressed with it just from like a first wear on my wood floor type of review. And also, let's talk about the shape of the outsole as far as like this goes. It's really flat, you know? So this thing is just, it reminds me of Adidas shoes. You know how Adidas has been making really flat shoes. So there's barely a curve here in the toe. You know, there is a little bit of a curvature in the heel, so it helps to like not feel as clunky, and there is a little bit of heel compression, which we'll get into. But you know, as far as just like this, it feels like it slaps, you know, so that doesn't really help. And also the flexibility of the midsole slash outsole, like look at this, it does not want to bend. It is really stiff in the forefoot if you're trying to bend it with your hands, but like when I had it on foot, it didn't feel like super restrictive. And for example, like the Zoom Freaks, this is just, look at that, right? This is just very bendy. It feels really fluid with the Zoom Freaks. So this feels a little bit more rigid. So it didn't feel like a huge deal because it did flex a little bit when I had it on, but you know, there's that. Alright, moving on to the cushion. So the cushion in this AlphaDunk, Nike said that the zoom unit that they used in the forefoot is the largest zoom unit that they've ever used in the forefoot. So I guess they're not counting the KD9 and the KD10 because that zoom bag was huge and it was a full length. So I guess they're saying only in the forefoot. So they kind of found a loophole of saying it's the largest zoom bag in the forefoot. It feels very similar to the LeBron 10 or the KD9 in the forefoot. You know, it's actually really nice. I can feel my forefoot really digging into that zoom unit. And even though it looks bottom loaded and it looks like there's a little bit of phylon in between your foot and the zoom unit, it still like digs in, and it's pretty damn bouncy. It feels great. Court feel isn't the best though. You know, of course, if you've ever played in the Harden Volume 3 or like the PG 3s, those are really low to the ground. So you're not gonna get the best court feel in this shoe, but it's not horrible like the LeBron 16 is. In the heel, it just says foam. It's just a foam midsole. And there is a little bit of heel compression, and it is pretty damn thick, so it doesn't feel like it's gonna bottom out or anything. So yeah, cushion I'm pretty impressed with. Of course, I do favor court feel over impact protection. As far as like, if the impact protection is okay and the court feel is really good, I don't mind it as much. But that's just my preference. But if you do like a crazy zoom unit, it's super nice. Of course, I guess my initial thoughts video, I thought the zoom unit being on the lateral side here was a bad idea. But looking at it now, it's really hard plastic encasing the zoom. So this part really doesn't bend at all, and it doesn't compress at all. So I feel like lateral instability, like I was worried about, is not going to be an issue here. Alright, moving on to the material. So in the AlphaDunk, they're using a re-engineered Flyknit. So it's basically just Flyknit. I guess they're just trying to make it sound cool. It's so weird. So it has like these raised dimples on the entire Flyknit. And I don't know how I feel about it. It feels weird, and I don't really know what that does. But it also like doesn't look cool. It looks kind of weird. But it is soft. It conforms to your foot really well, and it's like pretty thin. It looks premium, I guess. It looks a little weird though aesthetically. Feels great on foot. You do have flywire cables. I miss flywire cables, and the laces are only going through the flywire cables. So I really like that. The tongue uses a pretty, it doesn't feel great. It feels more of like a shit suede material, but I'm not super mad at it. The tongue is slightly padded. It's not a really thick pad. I prefer a well padded tongue, but this isn't bad. And then of course you have this weird synthetic material here in the heel area. You don't really need this. You're just putting an entire thick ass material over the ankle and makes it feel a little heavier. It probably adds weight. It makes it feel a little bit bulkier than it should. So I'm not a huge fan of this, and you know, it reminds me of the 0.2 where it's like double layered here in the ankle area. There is an internal TPU heel counter. Alright, moving on to the fit. The fit, I went true to size and it fits really nice. I would say it's pretty damn tight in the toe area. And then, I don't know, just for me, like here in the midfoot area, the laces don't really, it's not very wide, you know? So it feels like I can't tighten the laces as much, and it feels a little loose in the midfoot area, just like right here. And then width-wise, I would say it's slightly narrow. So width-wise, it was really good for me. You should be okay if you have a normal to narrow width foot. If you have a wide foot, you should probably go up half a size. Also, this shoe is really easy to put on. The tongue opens up a lot. Look at this. Look at that. I really like this. And you have a pull tab here, and then you just slide your foot in and you just tighten the laces. Super easy to put it on. I love shoes that are like that. Moving on to support and lockdown. I don't know, I haven't played in them yet, but it feels like it's gonna be good. The Flyknit is not stretchy at all. There's like no stretch, so it feels like it's gonna be supportive. This is a mid/high. Nike calls it a mid, but I don't know, it seems like a high to me. And ankle protection seemed good as well. We'll have to see. There's really, it's a pretty wide base and it has a little bit of an outrigger, so I feel like lateral stability will be good as well, so not really too worried about that. Alright, moving on to the weight, it's 14.25 ounces, so that's like pretty damn heavy. It feels like a lot, you know. It's definitely not a minimal shoe, you know, you feel the weight, but I feel like the traction being so good, and if it's good on dust, and then the zoom unit being bouncy in the forefoot, and then it being supportive, I feel like you're gonna be able to feel responsive and quick. But obviously it's not gonna feel like the lightest shoe. Moving on to the aesthetics, I don't know, not a huge fan. It definitely looks like a basketball shoe, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know, man. And also another interesting thing is like this swoosh here. It's like a gel material and it protrudes out. It's pretty interesting. But tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics of the AlphaDunk down in the comment section below. But yeah, my first impressions, I'm pretty impressed. You know, everything seems really good. The one thing I don't like about this zoom unit is that it's not as flexible as I would like. You know, but if you're used to that, and if you played in the LeBron 10 and the KD6 Elite, you should be okay. But the LeBron 16, they use these big zoom units, right? And then they segment it so that you have a lot of flex in it. You know? So, and then like it has a little bit of a curve shape and you have this protrusion, so it keeps you on your toes. I really like that. But with this, you don't have as much flex. So I don't like that as much, but you know, I feel like it's gonna be a good performer. 180 bucks is super expensive, but yeah, that's the AlphaDunk. If you guys want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.